maso tufune mirembe.
Sing the disgrace of placard, please. Demanding someone to resign. He doesn't know his job.
Who has that placard?
I've made it.
Yeah.
The person must resign. If his usefulness. Inspiring a young Ugandan who is going to suffocate. At your evening, when you have lived your usefulness, you can't fire a young.
You can't do that. Doctors welfare, oye. Oye. Improve working conditions, oye. Oye. Ra.
Resignation, oye. Oye. Resignation, oye. Oye.
Doctors welfare, oye. Oye. Improve working conditions, oye. Oye. Ra.
Resignation, oye. Oye. Resignation, oye.
To direct and to speak to the nation of the current stand of instruction. Allow me to greet you with absolute respect and honor. I'm Dr. Ledo Samuel, President Uganda Medical Association, and with us we have a team of representatives of doctors. That is the senior house officers. That president is here with us, Dr. Asaf. We have the interns for me. We have the entire leadership is here with us, Dr. Lydia and team. We have the pre-interns here with us. I think you can see them behind us with some of their representatives here with us. I hope we have the representative by show of hands. They can demonstrate. Yes, those are from different universities. That is KIU, Makerere, Mbarara, Busitema, and Gulu. Fully represented here with us. And now, we are going to release a statement which is clear to us. I'll, because of the interest of time, read some few key things, and I will invite the different representatives of these groups to speak a word or two. But they are all affiliated to Uganda Medical Association. Meaning, whatever is decided upon today is what will be the stand today. Before I read the press release, I want to make it categorically clear to the entire government today that if they do touch any of the interns at places of residence, then we shall withdraw emergency services with immediate effect. If they dare touch any NEC member, we shall withdraw emergency services. That is a statement I wanted to make clear before I read the press. And this week is going to be a week of implementation of the minimum deliverables by government. If we are taken for a ride, we shall engage Gear 4, which is the mother of all instructions that we promise this country if these things are not done. That is the phase 4. So, Uganda Medical Association is a group or a team of doctors countrywide with a total collection of over 7,000 doctors and 4,000 of them being locally residing in Uganda and 3,000 in the diaspora. This team launched instruction on the 22nd of November. That was phase 2 of the instruction. The first was an instruction launched on 8th November by Federation of Uganda Medical Interns, and Uganda Medical Association was solely behind them in this instruction launching, and today marks the 24th day of the instruction. So we are in week 4 of the instruction. The main IA was the chronic lack of medical supplies and PPEs in the different hospitals, and this has continuously manifested. This led to the infection of many of our colleagues, and many of them died. We are heading to another terrible and catastrophic strain of Omicron virulent strain of COVID-19. And painfully, the same stockouts are still applying in the government hospitals. Many of our colleagues are in the treatment centers, and we've lost over 80 doctors in this COVID-19 pandemic. Can you believe government failed to compensate the families of these doctors who died while giving a service? What guarantee do we have, as living doctors who are alive, that when we die, we shall be compensated? What guarantee do we have? A doctor's oye. A doctor's oye. Improved working conditions oye. Uganda Medical has had several engagements with the government of Uganda in the past since 2017 to discuss these issues. And in this year 2021, we had a meeting with the Fountain of Honor, His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who absolutely has a kind heart to the health sector. But we don't understand who is against his implementation program. The people in the offices have successfully stained the name of the president by making the president a liar. Can you believe that? A directive of the Fountain of Honor not being implemented. So we are saying enough is enough. Dr. Zoe, Dr. Zoe, a working conditions Zoe, to form a C by the president was established to oversee the improvement of doctors' health working conditions, welfare, and its effect on health services in Uganda, to provide enough medical supplies and PPEs to all hospitals and health centers, to pay the interns the 2.5 million shillings. A 2.5 oye. A interns 2.5 oye. 5 million shillings per month for the medical officers. A 5 million shillings oye. A 5 million shillings oye. A 2.5 for SHOs oye. A pay all SHOs oye. And the president promised to reduce the pay by 20%, meaning the pay was meant to be 10% with effect from this month. We've not seen this to be implemented. Provision of tax-free vehicles. I need to clarify this. The tax-free vehicles, it is not an alienated assertion to government. No. The purpose of the tax-free vehicles is to make sure that doctors are available in the health units at the time when they are needed. Do you know that we lose 16 mothers per day? In the past 24 hours, 16 mothers died due to pregnancy-related complications. Can you believe that? Do you know that we lose over 20 children in neonatal units per day? Can you believe that? And the reason is very simple. Government has failed to react on few things. Do you know that if doctors were given these duty-free vehicles, so that even at 2, when they are called in the night, when they are meant to show up at their places of work, that 1 hour, do you know that would save half of the 16 mothers who are dying? That would have at least minimum 5 per day. Is it too much to ask government? A tax-free vehicle zoye. A tax-free vehicle zoye. We are saying we need to do our duties as doctors. And these tax-free vehicles were given prior. In the 80s, there were tax-free vehicles. Shockingly, even interns, in the early 90s, can you believe that interns were given appointment letters from public service, given houses, given accommodation? Even when medical students were still in medical school, they were given what we call a boom to help them facilitate themselves when they are studying. And every person in top offices who is a doctor tested this. The question is, how come some responsible human beings in these offices are not even adhering to the little 2.5 million shillings that interns are asking for, when for them they were given even beyond this? If this is not addressed, we shall demand for the immediate resignation of some officials in Ministry of Health, especially the Director General of Health Services. A resignation, oye! A resignation, oye! His Excellency the President gave a directive to form a committee to discuss possibilities of compensating families who died in the COVID-19 pandemic and pay school fees for the children of the doctors who died in this battle of COVID-19. This has not yet seen light to date. Yet their contemporaries in UPDF, can you believe, before they are buried, they are paid 60 months compensation. But doctors who die in the COVID-19. None of their family members has been compensated. They have been evicted from where they're staying. What guarantee do we have, us who are living, that for sure, when these violent strains come and attack us, we shall still be alive in the lives of our families? This compensation must be implemented. A compensation for doctors, oye! Oye! A compensation, oye! Oye! Ra! Ra! The president also promised 4 billion shillings to be given to Uganda Medical Association for medical doctors' economic empowerment through small loans. Can you believe even the 4 billion shillings has never been released to Uganda Medical Association to try to facilitate the small loans to doctors? This is uncouth and is uncalled for. However, following our engagement, doctors have found trouble to obtain documentation of the commitment of plans to implement the directives we have requested and communicated to the government of Uganda to work on the following immediate demands so that doctors can go back and treat Ugandans as we wait for the other directives to be implemented in the next financial year. We are saying we want to serve Ugandans. It's what we studied. For a doctor to come out as a fully qualified doctor, it takes 6 years. Can you believe that? 6 years, meaning a young man who entered senior 1 is entering university when you're still in university. It takes those years. And it takes minimum 65 million shillings to train a doctor in those years. That is 5 million shillings per semester. Can you believe that? And you come out and they treat you like trash. When you are going to save lives, what message are we sending to the youngsters who are doing sciences in secondary schools? The president is always saying, let us train more scientists. Is this the way you're paying us for studying the sciences? Is this the message we are sending to the youngsters who have dedicated themselves to study sciences? That when they finish, they'll be useless, worthless, that the schools actually they went to, they cannot take their children to? Do you realize that we cannot take our children, our peasant fathers and mothers who struggle to sell whatever they sold to make sure that we study, we become doctors, struggle to take us to these schools. But us, the doctors, we cannot take any of our children to these schools. Can you imagine that? Because of the meager pay. And even when we've studied, our work is to go and see patients die in hospitals because of lack of consumables, drugs. Do you know how traumatizing it is for doctors to see a life go when he knew all he needed was sutures, all he needed were gloves, all he needed was emergency drugs, all he needed was the availability of consumables to save these lives? Do you know that we've lost doctors because of stress-related conditions, traumatized by the environment? We cannot keep seeing patients die every day. We can't see that. And we are saying enough is enough. A doctor Zoe. Enough is... And this is the key. Pay all interns and senior house officers the 2.5 million shillings with immediate effect. And pay all senior house officers both in private and public universities. Epe SHOs and interns oye. Epe 2.5 oye. Ra. Over 60% vacant posts for doctors in the public facilities and provision of adequate medical supplies and personal protective equipment. Do you realize that we have only 40% coverage of human resource in the health sector? We have 1,834 doctors. That is senior consultants, medical officers, special grade medical officers who are employed by government. Yet we need 4,800 doctors, meaning the work which is meant to be done by 4 doctors is done by 1. is the absolute reason why patients go to hospitals and they stay in a line, waiting line, because there's only one doctor in a health center, one doctor in the OPD, one doctor in a ward to see all the 200 patients per day. And remember, diseases do not read books, meaning patients present differently. This that we are doing involves brain work and involves physicality. So the question is, we are saying, why can't government fill up these 60% vacancies of doctors? Employ all doctors, oye! Employ all doctors, oye! Ra! Ra! Ah! And on that note, over 80 billion shillings was returned by Ministry of Health back to the Treasury, which was meant to recruit doctors. Can you believe that? Is the Ministry of Health really doing that responsibility? How can you return over 80 billion shillings meant to recruit doctors in the hospitals, and yet we have few doctors to help our sick Ugandans, to help the Ugandans? So who is failing who?
Director General resigned.
So what we are saying,
He should resign!
He
should resign!
that is the voice from the doctors. And it's clear they're saying the Director General who has failed to see the full implementation of the HR policy
should resign.
and the resource allocation to the different hospitals should do what?
Resign!
Should do what?
Resign!
A resignation what? A resignation what? So directives such as the one enabling doctors to get tax waiver purchased cars to be implemented. A tax-free cars, a doctor's free tax-free cars, doctors must get these tax-free.
We are tired!
Enough is enough.
Enough is
Enough!
Enough is
Enough!
We cannot keep losing doctors on motorcycles. Enough is
Enough!
We cannot keep losing patients because of doctors coming late. Enough is
Enough!
We cannot see patients travel long distances to look for doctors. Enough is
Enough!
This ends now.
Minister out!
Out. Presidential.
Minister out!
Out.
Minister out!
Out!
Yo!
Yo. Ra. Presidential directive to increase pay for medical interns and SHOs has been clear. This has no negotiation. And I pass a message to the Director General who wrote a letter to evict our interns from their places of residence, who have tirelessly worked amidst very meager and miserable conditions, that he should retract that letter with immediate effect. And no intern, I repeat, no intern in any government facility should leave those facilities. Yes. All interns remain where you are. If the government fails to do this, we have a court injunction prepared with immediate effect with our lawyers to make sure that this uncouth treatment of doctors ends. We are not going to bow down to unfair treatment of our dear colleagues. Interns are not students. I repeat, interns are not students.
These are not students!
These are not
the medical workers of this country!
Yes.
They must be paid!
These are already trained medical doctors, nurses, midwives, pharmacists, dental surgeons, who have graduated from that different universities, and they are working under supervision of the senior colleagues for that 1 year, so that they can be deployed to give a service with a 1 year experience. Is that still a student? No. Interns are not students.
Interns are not students!
Interns are not students.
Interns are not students!
Minister of Health, stop treating interns like students.
Because they are
They are heroes! They are heroes!
And on the same note, no pre-intern is meant to step in any government facility
No stepping in the government facility.
Until all the issues of the current interns has been resolved and they have been signed out. They've completed their 1-year placement. So no interns, I repeat, on national TV, no pre-intern. I repeat, no pre-intern is meant to report to the duty station. All pre-interns remain at home until your predecessors are done with internship. Internship, oye! Internship, oye! Stay home, oye! Stay home, oye! Pre-intern, stay home, oye! Is the critical matter of compensation of families of doctors who died in the fight against COVID should not be sent to committees, but rather government could instead give a payment plan to this effect. A payment, oye! A compensation, oye! Because these doctors died when they were giving a service. They contracted COVID-19 during the pandemic and they died. So please, the compensation should not go into the different committees. Compensate the families. We shall have assurance as doctors that when we get infected at places of work, we shall be also compensated. The fifth and last simple issue is the presidential directive for the economic support to the doctors' needs to be implemented. The 4 billion shillings release should be implemented. These are the 5 as we wait for the salary enhancements next year, as we wait for our senior consultants to get their vehicles next year. You get it? So we are saying these 5 are minor issues. Do you expect us to come and work in the hospitals when we don't have what to use? A PPE oye. A PPE oye. A supply of medical drugs oye. A sundries in hospitals oye. Ra. Make a statement against the document which was written by Minister of Health, signed by the Director General, to order the eviction of medical interns from their hostels. This act is not only illegal, but also a mistreatment and an abuse of medical profession and office as a whole, and unprecedented abuse of the rights of medical doctors in Uganda. As Uganda Medical Association, we have reached out to the legal representatives, Center for Health, Human Rights and Development, who have since written and asked Minister of Health to withdraw the directive of evicting medical interns within 48 hours of the 13th December 2021. The rescinding of these orders by Minister of Health and Director General of Health Services is not done. And if not, will culminate to the addressing of the issue and other related matters through the courts of law. However, if an eviction is implemented on our interns, we shall withdraw emergency services from Friday if our interns are evicted.
And the media for being with us. So today we've gathered here to be clear about the status of the senior house officers in regard to the ongoing industrial action. So the senior house officers, as our president has already said, are a group of medical doctors who are training to be specialists. These doctors are postgraduates. These doctors have done the 5 years of medical school, they have done the 1 year of internship, and most of them have actually practiced for more than 3 years in the field. The doctors you see treating you after they go for masters, and those are the so-called senior house officers. So these doctors are found in most of the regional referral hospitals, the national referral hospitals, and also the specialized hospitals like the Women's Hospital. So as doctors, the senior house officers are in agreement with the issues that have been raised by Uganda Medical Associations, and the president has already elucidated more about them. I will not repeat. But ladies and gentlemen, this is not a joke. our fathers, our mothers, our brothers, our sisters, this is not a joke. Senior house officers who are specialists in the making currently receive a monthly remuneration of 700,000 Ugandan shillings. These are not dollars.
Can you believe?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700,000. These are the doctors who tomorrow are going to be specialists. Government is paying us 700,000 Ugandan shillings. And if that is not enough, our custodians, the ministry is even threatening to withdraw it off. Can you imagine? Now, that's for those who are working in government hospitals. Those who are in private hospitals are dying in limbo. They are not paid anything. These are our brothers. These are sons and daughters of this nation. They are not being paid anything. In 2017, our president actually called it modern day slavery. And he gave a directive to Ministry of Health to start paying the senior house officers. The implementation of that directive is still
As you see, majority of them on completion. Can you believe they're not employed by government? Majority of them? Like the entire northern Uganda has no orthopedic surgeon. He's here. He's an orthopedic surgeon to be. We have 10 orthopedic surgeons in northern Uganda. Patients must travel. Can you believe that? Patients must travel, even in the COVID pandemic. When the economy is bleeding, the staff's already there. Patients must travel from northern Uganda to eastern Uganda to go for orthopedic surgery.
Medical interns countrywide, yes, we are very saddened, very disappointed in our ministry. Reason being, ever since we started crying out for our welfare, we have not seen a single letter from either our Honorable Minister or the PS or the DG telling the President, or informing the President that actually the directive he gave has not been implemented, because that would show concern, that they're actually concerned about our welfare. We have not seen a single letter of them reminding finance or asking finance when is the money coming, as a way of following up on this directive. So we want to see, where are they concerned in this? Do they really care about the medical interns' welfare? We said, they told us the supplement has been passed. We saw it in media just like everyone else. And we requested for just an official communication, because it's coming to a month. The supplementary was passed on 18th. We are almost getting to 18th, a whole month. This money, we have not received it, and also we don't have any official communication on when we should expect it. And that is the single thing we asked our ministry to do. Could you please officially communicate to us and confirm that this supplementary was passed and we should expect this money at such and such a time? And none of them has committed to that. In the same spirit, this is a message to the hospital directors. The hospital directors should not pretend like they don't understand the great work medical interns do in these hospitals. They have to understand that medical interns actually are the most integral part of this health system. We are doing the most work, and yet we are the least paid in these hospitals. If they, as hospital directors, they have a role to play in improving the health sector. They have a role to play in improving the welfare of their workers. Where have they been when the medical interns are crying out loud to the government to improve their welfare? They know that we are always there 24/7. In fact, if a patient comes and it's an emergency and you're not there, the hospital director will call and ask, who is the intern on duty? They will not even ask, who is the doctor on duty who is employed by public service? They'll say, who is the intern on duty? Why would a patient die when we have interns in hospitals? The question is, what is their role in improving the welfare of medical interns? When these directives have not been implemented, where have they been? Have they reached out to their bosses in Ministry of Health or to Finance or to government and say, you know, our interns are crying, they are not well, we are being hit at night by iron bars, they see these things, we are being harassed at night, we report to them. Have they reported to their bosses these instances and followed up to see that something is done? If they have been silent in the fight to improve the health sector, why would they now come to start chasing medical interns? Why would they come on the negative side of this whole, situation? Some hospital directors have started evicting medical interns. We saw notes in Soroti that was pinned. We saw the hospital director of Masaka communicating that they should vacate by today. We know that the interns of Mbale were given up to Sunday to leave. We are hearing Chirudu is also chasing them. Now our question is, how about those sites? For example, Kawempe, that don't have messes. What would those interns do? What should they do? Because they are renting. And we need to inform the public that only 20% of medical interns actually accommodated in these public hospitals. So is this a solution to the challenge? If you're only having 20% accommodated and you're evicting them, where is the other 80%? What is the solution for them? Is this really a solution? So our cry or our call to the hospital directors is let them come on board. They have a role to play in this health sector, not to make it worse, but to actually improve it. Let them not pretend like they don't know what's happening or as if we are comfortable as the health sector.
Where are they?
Let them come on board and negotiate and actually dialogue with the Ministry of Health to see that our issues are handled. We only have two requests. One, that Ministry of Health reconsiders their decision to actually order medical interns to vacate the hospital premises. And two, that Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Health come out clearly to tell us where has the money that was appropriated by Parliament reached. What is the progress? What is stopping it from coming? And when should we expect it? And to all Ugandans, we appreciate you for
that inhuman letter written to, in any profession, you can't sit quiet when they touch your young one. I did internship 8 years ago. I know what the interns go through. I'm saying the voice with our colleagues, senior colleagues out there. Even one intern evicted in any part of the country, without prior notice, we withdraw emergency services in all public services, and we add a demand. If you chase any single intern, doctor, who is our future, an elderly member of the profession should not humiliate a young one who has over 40 years to serve Ugandans.
Even treat him.
We are going to add on the demand to come for negotiation table. If you chase any intern, the person who wrote that letter must first resign. Resume emergency services.
Print and sign! Print and sign! 2.5 million soy! 750 Z! My name is Mutebi Leonard. I'm a pre-intern representative from Makerere University, and I'm here to make a statement to our fellow Ugandans. First of all, I want to remind Ugandans that medical interns are not students. For us, the pre-interns have already finished being students at the different universities. So we're no longer students anymore. We are going for internship and we are going to be doctors. Now, this is what Minister of Health did. When you're moving in a feeder road and then you find a place that is having urine, you try to jump. So the minister jumped urine and they stepped into feces. How did they step in feces? They stepped in feces by thinking that the pre-interns will be willing to join. Ladies and gentlemen, we as pre-interns, we are not ready to join because it's like sending someone to hell. You cannot send me to hell when I'm seeing with my eyes. I cannot go. So as the pre-interns from Makerere University, we unanimously agreed we cannot join internship unless our predecessors, our seniors, the current interns, the elders, have been signed off successfully, they have been paid well, and then we are sure of how much we are going to receive. If it is 750, we are not joining internship anymore. That is the message.
I'm a pre-intern from Guru University. It's so absurd. It is so absurd for what the government is doing to us. An attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. So I call upon everyone to come and support the doctors. The medical students, the pre-interns, the interns, the SHO, the specialist consultants, even the neonates who have love for sciences, come and join us in this fight. We as Guru University students, we are not going to come. We as Guru University pre-interns, we are not joining internship until our predecessors are paid. They are allowed to finish their internship.
ensonga zaffe bazilambuuza mu bwangu mu nnambiro oba pulezidenti yayogera. We are doctors and we are representing Uganda Medical Association. This is a document you are submitting.
No, but I see, I know that one there is no problem. But is there any letter granting you for this procession?
We are here.
No, let's go.
No, we are not going.
No.
We are not going anywhere.
Can you ask?
Why are you refusing that? What have we done?
We are moving peacefully in Parliament. Apparently we are not violent. We are doctors moving to Parliament. A lot has been said, nothing has been done. We want solutions to our problems. Doctors are suffering in this country. The President has pronounced himself on this issue. He wants government action. But we together are not acting. Hey! What is it? Hey!
No, we are not violent, we are just walking there. We just want to present our
That's why we are walking there.
Where was the police when they were testing us from hospital? Patients on wards are dying. Every day we are seeing patients die, but it's not reported anywhere. And the media cannot be allowed to go there. How can the minister come on TV and say that the effect is not felt? What is he up to? Is he after saying that Ugandans die on hospital because doctors are striking? What is he trying to insinuate? We are here for a peaceful walk to the parliament and deliver our petition. We want to follow up with these things that were said. Our minister to deliver what we have sent them to do. The mandate was directed, President gave a directive that these people should be done this and this. Up to where they have not been done anything. We just come all of a sudden on the day and they say doctors should vacate the premises of the hospital.
And our message
MOs have also been striking. Now they have not been put away from the hospital.
Our message is very clear. Pay the 5 million shillings for doctors, pay 2.5 for interns. No one should chase interns from their residentials. As simple as that.
How can you be demanding and be chased away? You are demanding for better services.
We are not
After demanding for better services, they are chasing us away. Is that fair?
Colleagues are dying from Mulago there. We don't have drugs. This is enough. Mothers are dying at Kawempe because they are not drugs. We are here to fight for a common man. And even these officers you see on this, they are wives, they are colleagues at Mulago. They are dying, they are not drugs, they are not fleets. The doctors are not there because they are pure and enumerated. What do you want us to do?
We are tired of
We are part of this country.
It is now a common practice that patients will come to the health facility and there are no things to use. We are tired of asking patients, please go and buy these things before you can be worked on. That's why we want to reach Parliament and present these issues. Maybe while they are in their offices, they don't know what happens there.
Afande, nitakuwa. Afande nitakuwa.